You're never gonna see this on any mainstream news.
This ain't what you want, this is what you need. Yeah, they made us slaves, hung our kids from trees. Nooses on our neck, whipped us till we bleed. Hey man, call it Galatians 3:13.
You're now tuned in to Precept upon Precept.
Crew so strange, look at how low they hang. Oh man, took out the chains, so when the wind blow, we just swing. Much oppression, drinking dreams that is bitter. Ready, set, pull a.
We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race or ethnicity agenda. We advise that anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1.
Shalom, Most High in Christ bless. Welcome to another late show of Precept upon Precept. I'm Officer Yasser,
Officer Mikael.
Officer Solomon.
Officer Iran.
and we have another great show for y'all tonight. Many of our normal cast members are out doing the Lord's work. So let's jump right into it. Let's get into the thumbnail. Go ahead, Officer.
Hey, y'all got to play that again. It actually has sound. Or y'all can just pause it. Okay. So the crude divides the crude, oil and the evil empire. As you can see, the crude man, which is Esau, here depicted as Donald Trump, wants the crude oil. And he's going to do anything that he can do anything that he wants to do to get it. Like, for instance, trumped up charges on Maduro. And that's what you see here. They've been kidnapping Maduro. In Spanish, that actually says, no, yo soy el Hadro de Chavez, which means, no, I'm a son of Chavez. The other sign says, adios, dictator, which that's only 1% of the people in Venezuela that actually believe that, as y'all gonna find out later on in the show. But it's all because of the crude oil. That's what they want.
And that's what they're going to get. Yeah, got his foot dipped in the oil.
Yep.
Got his foot dipped in the oil. And we see, what's that scripture where it talks about exposing them up to the thigh? Anybody got that right quick?
Yes, sir.
Isaiah 47.
Yeah. Get that scripture real quick. That's what's going on. You know, if you got coworkers and people you talk to, and they always trying to portray America as some sort of virgin, some sort of good person that's doing good things around the world, going around and feeding the little children, all of that. Get that scripture.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate.
No more tender and delicate. No, you're not helping nobody. You're not going around here being nice to nobody. And because of the desperation, we see them making moves now to expose themselves. Come on.
Take the millstone and grind mill. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh.
So we uncovering the thighs, getting down to seeing the nasty parts. We seeing the nasty parts now of the so-called American, what is that word, when they want to say that they real great. But anyway, we ain't going to get too much into that. But she
Pomp
being
and
exposed.
circumstance.
Yeah.
Pomp and circumstance.
Yes.
That's what we're seeing there. The nasty parts of them, pomp and circumstance.
Oh, man, They really showing the nasty parts every which way now, and with the current leadership in there. Well, we're gonna see a lot of it in tonight's show. So let's get to our first video. Let me see. It says, "Oh snap! Come on, man, what's happening?" All right.
Secretary Rubio yesterday went out in front of the cameras along with Secretary Hegseth, and they said basically there are two objectives of this Venezuelan ops.
As you've seen today, 2 more ships were seized. We are in the midst right now and, in fact, about to execute on a deal to take all the oil. They have oil that is stuck in Venezuela. They can't move it because of our quarantine and because it's sanctioned. We are going to take between 30 and 50 million barrels of oil. We're going to sell it in the marketplace at market rates, not at the discounts Venezuela was getting. That money will then be handled in such a way that we will control.
Hold it. Wait a minute. He said they're going to sell it at market rate, not at the discounts that Venezuela oil was getting. You mean they oil was being undersold in the market? Wouldn't that cause that economy to collapse? Come on.
Dispersed in a way that benefits the Venezuelan people, not corruption, not the regime. So we have a lot of leverage to move on the stabilization front. The second phase will be a phase that we call recovery, and that is ensuring that American, Western, and other companies have access to the Venezuelan market in a way that's fair. Also, at the same time, begin to create the process of reconciliation nationally within Venezuela.
So one of the things we have to consider is why when Hugo Chavez was in power, that he take the oil from the American oil companies and give it to the people, because they were being swindled, taken. So he called it state oil, and that went filtered through the government unto the people. The same as they say here in America. They say the money goes into the government and it filters to the people, no different. But what it did was it cut out American oil companies from making extravagant profits off of Venezuela oil, and the people were being abused, left out. Come on. Y'all jump in.
So those seem to be two kind of strange things to put together. We're going to, number one, we're going to take their oil, we're going to use it how we see fit. And then the second thing is we're going to, I mean, this is nation building. We're going to start telling them how to change their terms inside and bring all this democracy into place. I mean, let's take those in order. What do you think, first of all, about what justification can we use that has any plausible international acceptance or legality to just take the oil, especially when you're talking, I'm just going to now go and get this amount of oil and we're going to spend it how we see fit and we'll let you know how it turns out?
Well, the answer to that is there is none. But I don't think it makes any difference to anybody in Washington. And we might as well come to terms with that reality.
Again, right there, he said something that most Americans forget, because they played a two-party game. My people doing this, your people doing that. But he said, Mr. McGregor said, he doesn't believe that it makes any difference to anybody in Washington, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're Republican or independent. They don't really care. All it is what lines their pockets and benefits mostly the elite. And then I would say lastly, the American people, the people here in America. So come on, go ahead.
The other thing is they're actually talking about the legality of what's going on. And he said he thinks it doesn't matter to anybody in Washington if it's legal what they're doing in Venezuela, stealing the state's oil. Let's play on.
If we're going to sit around and talk about the legalistic aspects of this whole business, it's going to be a very short conversation. None of it is legal. We don't even have a declared war. In other words, there's nothing from the Hill that says, we support intervention in Venezuela and we're giving the president authorization to do it and we're backing whatever he wants. The Hill doesn't seem to care. The Hill wasn't asked. And when you start talking about dispersing funds, I'm sure all of these donors that are in the background that are lining up to pick up the pieces of whatever falls out of the basket of goodies from Venezuela will have something to say about it.
Wow. Wow, nobody in Washington cares about legality. We see it. We seeing a lot of so-called the lawlessness in this country, and we're not talking about people who live in the project. We're talking about the elites, the people who so-called lead the country, have no respect for the rule of law. They don't follow their own laws. It reminds me, of course, what was done here with the so-called indigenous Native Americans, right? They did not care about any law, negotiating any kind of treaties, and if they did, they broke every last one of them.
Watch this, officer. Let's get Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1 and 2. The Bible talks about it. The Bible talks about them. The Bible has them to a T.
Mm-hmm.
Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 10, verses 1 and 2. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decree, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed.
It says they right grievousness which they have prescribed, and it says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. What they're doing in Venezuela is an unrighteous decree. How you gonna take somebody else's resource and get paid for it and then tell them how to use the money from it? Imagine Russia coming into the United States and saying they're gonna do that. Or China.
And we're gonna debunk a lot of things that they say tonight,
Right.
as far as how the U.S. companies went in there and built facilities and lost money. They've lost no money in Venezuela.
None.
They just using words to try and justify, I guess, to the rest of the world, but they really don't care. They're going, as Trump said about Greenland, it don't really matter what they think. It's what we think that matters. And I want to start my little Make America Great Again.
There's actually more on that video. I want to get to this point about Donald Trump's personality. Let's go back to the video real quick. McGregor.
Where we at? Is it that video?
It should have been. It should have been in there where it says.
8 minutes, I think it was.
No.
That's the next one.
Go back up to number 1. What's the timestamp on that?
It said to 5:30, 5:12.
From 2:15 to 5:12. Yeah. All right, don't worry about it. I must have timestamped it.
But I do know the part you're talking about where he was saying how Donald Trump grew up and how Donald Trump deals with people.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to say. My new name for MAGA is MATA. MATA. Make America thugs again.
Because that's exactly his personality. He's a thug.
He's a thug.
A
bully.
What it was is they were telling the story about some senator that had a meeting with a Russian, and Donald Trump's like, "Oh, really? Let me go talk to him. I got some advice for him." So he tells the senator just to go in and grab the Russian by the shoulders and tell him, "Screw you."
He didn't say screw you, though.
No, he didn't use that word at all.
He used like the middle finger.
Mm-hmm. But that's his personality, and that's the way that he's operating the government.
Bully tactics.
Bully. Where you want to go next, officer?
Let's go ahead and pull up the number 2. Go ahead. And that's from, I don't see the timestamp.
Iran protest updates. Trump appears to soften rhetoric after Iran threats.
Come on.
Thanks for joining us. This live page is now closed.
That's not it. Iran. But so let's look at how it's ironic that we speak about going to Iran and shutting down their protests. And protests all over America right now about Iran killing people. They kill people here. Look at Minnesota. What was the other? The brother before New Year's, he got shot in the back. Was that in Denver? It's in one of them states. So that's what's going on currently in the country. And we have the National Guard deployed in at least all of the blue states. I know that much. I don't know exactly where all of them are at, but I seen the National Guard posted on corners here in the city that we live in. So shouldn't he be taking care of this problem rather than going over there minding their I almost said their oil business, but that's what Iran has, is oil. At the end of the day, they have resources, and that's what this is all about. All of these wars you see today are about resources and how we can acquire them to the benefit of course, the rich, and then to one side of the board, the so-called Western nations. Did you find it, Iran?
So basically, it's a power play because if you remember a bunch of shows ago, we talked about Saudi Arabia and them not renewing the deal for the petrodollar. And the petrodollar has since tanked because BRICS is making major moves, and they're coming together, and they're trading their resources, and they're in trading in their currency and not the United States currency.
Yeah.
And that's why Donald Trump is trying to get this oil from Venezuela, because Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world. And then also these other nations, like they're trying to go to Iran and get that oil. And also Iran's a major player in BRICS. So if they disable them and can control them, then they put a major chink in BRICS armor.
So this number 2, which you're going to read some of it, is about Iran protests updates. Trump appears to soften rhetoric after Iran threats. Now, it says appears because that's just what it is. It's smoke and mirrors. They moving their assets, use their language, they're moving their assets into place. They're going to do something over there in Iran. That's the intentions. And they've the biggest air base in the region. They've now asked U.S. personnel to evacuate it. So they know what Iran's going to do, and Iran know what they're going to do. So let's see.
U.S. President Trump said he received information that the killing in Iran is stopping, and that execution would not go ahead. Asked whether that meant the U.S. would refrain from the military intervention, as he previously threatened. Trump said Washington will watch and see. Right?
I mean, it's just how is that even possible? What interest do we have in Iran's business on how they run in their country? They can't come over here and say, listen, you shot that woman in the face 3 times up there, and we're going to come over there and shut you down, or you choked out George Floyd, or all the many different aspects that's going on here in this country, the tragedies that go on in this country. Who's going to come over here and correct this? So how are we the good guys? I remember it was the Nation of Islam leader, what's his name? Farrakhan. Mm-hmm. And they were questioning Farrakhan. They was telling him that they believe it was Ethiopia, was not Ethiopia. It was one of the countries in Africa, and they was basically saying that's the worst crime spot in the world. Y'all know what I'm talking about? It's an old video. And he told them, what gives you the moral?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. What gives you the moral high ground here? All you done did. Sicking dogs on people. Black Wall Street. What else? All of the different race riots they had, and many of them people don't even know about, from the South through the North. A lot of times they try,
The hangings?
Hangings, right? And we're going to get to a part to show you, really, we're going to uncover that thigh. What else you had, Iran?
Rights group Amnesty International say it reviewed evidence showing mass unlawful killings committed on an unprecedented scale in Iran over the past week, including against most peaceful protesters and bystanders. A near total telecommunications blackout across Iran extended into a 7-day, according to the Blackout Monitor
So
net blocks.
it's like the kettle calling the pan black, right? We just went over there in Venezuela. They ain't even tell you the number of people they killed and messed up over there when they went and took Maduro.
It was at least 100 people killed, and half of them were killed while they were sleeping. That's the number that they reported. So, like I also said, there's no telling how many actually got killed.
Come on with it.
You go to Nigeria, which is, if not the most corrupt nation in Africa, and it is, it could be the most corrupt nation in the world, Minister Farrakhan.
This reporter here is the devil. Mike Wallace, my bad. But I said, but he being the devil, he calling them the most corrupt nation in the world. What has Nigeria took over and conquered? What people did they displace? Huh? Nothing. Whose oil did they take? Their oil is being taken. Go ahead.
Mr. Wallace, it is the most corrupt nation that I have ever covered. I've been there 25 years ago, and I've been there as recently as last year.
Fine. So what? 35 years old. That's what that nation is.
Wait.
Here's America.
Nigeria is only 35 years old, but the nation of the continent, so-called Africa, is thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, right? How come Nigeria is only 35 years old? Because they invaded it. And they were just now getting back on their feet, trying to get some relief from the occupation of the colonialism. Go ahead.
226 years old. You love democracy, but there in Africa, you're trying to force these people into a system of government that you just have accepted. 30 years ago, black folk got the right to vote. You're not in any moral position to tell anybody how corrupt they are. You should be quiet.
You should
and
be
let
quiet.
those
Put your
of
hand
us
on
who
your mouth.
know our people go there and help them get out of that
Put your
condition.
hand on your
but
mouth,
America
Mike
should
Wallace.
keep her mouth shut.
That's
Wherever
right.
there's a corrupt regime, as much hell as America has raised on the earth. No, I will not allow America or you, Mr.
That's
Wallace, to.
That's good.
You better
Yes,
shut your
that made
white
the point.
mouth.
Hey, I just did a real quick search on Mike Wallace, and it says the veteran 60 Minutes correspondent came under fire in the 1980s for a remark about African Americans and the use of the N-word. So like Officer Yasser said, he's the devil anyway.
That word devil means deceiver. That's what that word means. Mm-hmm. And that's what he's using is deception. They're trying to label Nigeria in such a way that it's okay to do things to them. That's what it's all about.
That's their MO. Like they said, Maduro was a cartel leader.
And you would, show me some proof or something if you want people to believe it. But
Right.
they don't even show the people who back them, the other Americans. We don't vote. But they don't show nobody. Blowing up drug boats. You didn't prove that those were those could have been fishing boats. People could have been going out to get their daily bread.
Mm-hmm.
Blew them up. But that was to intimidate. We're going to see some more of that as we get along in these videos.
Hey, can we go to, speaking of the videos, can we go to number 4? Because number 4 actually is proof that there is no proof of the cartels.
Even Big Oil says hard no.
Oil companies had a fascinating response to President Donald Trump, who asked executives in said oil companies if they have any interest in returning to Venezuela once Nicolas Maduro is ousted in a regime change war. And so far, the answer is a hard no. That's what Politico is reporting, and I am super shocked by that. Cenk, what are your 2 cents?
Yeah, it's definitely surprising because Venezuela appeared to be picked first because it has the largest oil reserve in the world, and we almost always attack countries with large oil reserves.
Say that again.
But I think that I have a different theory on why we're going there, and it might surprise you. So let's find out why it might not be the oil companies, and then talk about why we might be going to war with Venezuela anyway.
So the answer that Trump received, which I'm sure he didn't like, from these oil industry executives is likely due to the current oil markets, right? The fact that the oil supply has been increased, which means more supply, prices come down. So the US benchmark oil price was around $56 a barrel as of Wednesday afternoon. And that's actually the lowest it's been since January of 2021. Here in California, we're not feeling the relief because they tax the crap out of gas here, and we're still paying like at least $4.50 a gallon if you're lucky. But anyway, this has given Trump some wiggle room to attack Venezuela without too much concern about oil prices being impacted to a point where things are unaffordable. So he's like, all right, I got some wiggle room. But the increased supply is also having the opposite effect on these oil companies. Those prices are also way too low to entice companies to take the risk of pouring huge investments into the crumbling Venezuelan oil facilities that former strongman Hugo Chavez seized decades ago.
I got to disagree with them, and that's the Young Thugs. What do they call themselves? Turks.
Young Turks.
Young Turks. So, she called Hugo Chavez a strong man.
Well, she was actually reading a quote. I don't think she's calling him a strong man.
All right.
I don't think that's her quote. But they were reading a quote about why the oil companies don't want to go back into Venezuela and take over the crumbling infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Well, the infrastructure is crumbling because of the illegal sanctions that the United States put on Venezuela in the first place.
And we got a piece on that. I don't know. It's way down there at the bottom. Let me see. You mentioned that. I don't know if we got a number on it.
Hey,
it's 13. Put 13 up there. IT. Number 13, please. This is exactly what you referring to.
Yep.
Yes. The United States has frozen significant Venezuelan government assets and imposed extensive sanctions for years, escalating from targeted measures against individuals for human rights, starting around 2014 to 2015.
When was it?
2014 to 2015.
So this had nothing to do with Maduro.
To broad financial and historical sanctions under the Trump administration. 2019, effectively.
Trump was president then too.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Effectively cutting off the government and state oil company, PDVSA, from U.S. financial systems and freezing assets in the U.S. These actions aim to pressure the Nicolas Maduro.
Mm-hmm. Government. You couldn't see that? Oh. So the Maduro government freezing funds and restricting asset to U.S. markets and banks. Now they got another one just below it. Now remember, the U.S. oil companies say that Venezuela owes them a lot of money because they took the oil rights away from them. Read that last one. What did we number it? 14.
The U.S. has frozen billions in Venezuelan assets.
Whoa, don't run by that one. It's
billions.
Billions. That's more than the U.S. companies are claiming that they owed. And it's whose assets?
The U.S. has frozen billions in Venezuelan assets, particularly those related to state oil company PDVSA and the central bank, including over $11 billion in Citgo, dividends, and funds held in international banks.
So Venezuela don't have the U.S. oil companies' money. The U.S. has frozen the assets that were to go to Citco. The U.S. has their money.
Citco, you can go outside right now in any one of your neighborhoods where the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are, you're going to see a Citgo gas station.
Yes, indeed.
And Citgo gas station is run by, that's a Venezuelan gas station. Hugo Chavez set that gas station up to give affordable gas to his people. And they say $11 billion that go to Citgo is frozen in United States banks. That's $11 billion that can go back to the infrastructure that they got sitting in their banks because illegal sanctions.
That's some wicked stuff, but you really need to think on it on a different level, because if they could do it to Venezuela and their money in the bank, guess what?
They could do it to us.
They could do it to us, every last one of us.
Everyone. Hey, let's go back to that video.
Was for
officials and analysts said. And I want to just quickly correct something that I said on the show yesterday. You know, Trump said something about how Venezuela stole our oil. And I'm like, what? What does he even mean by that? I think he's referring to what Chavez had done under his leadership. And so U.S. oil companies have better investment options elsewhere, according to one person who's familiar with the discussions. And then two people familiar with Trump's efforts say that the administration has only recently started initiating the outreach to the industry. It's not as straightforward to convince companies to risk capital in an uncertain political environment, one of those people said. Now, I've got more details on Trump's conversations with these oil executives. So, for instance, Evanon Romero, who is a former executive at the Venezuelan state-owned oil company known as Petróleos de Venezuela, now works as a consultant in Houston and is
Go ahead.
actually part of this opposition effort against Maduro, right?
Oh, wait a minute.
He's a coon.
He is working for the oil company. Conflict of interest, y'all.
He's
Conflict of
a
interest.
coon. He's against Maduro, been against Maduro.
But he working for the oil company. So he wasn't in there working for the people. He's working for this oil company who wanted the government overthrown down there. Go ahead.
November, the Trump administration met with Exxon, ConocoPhillips, and representatives of the Venezuelan opposition group to which Romero belongs, although he wasn't at this particular meeting. The meeting was led by the Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, and the discussion centered on the possibility of the two oil majors returning to Venezuela, right? Now, Romero said Exxon and ConocoPhillips aired concerns about the debt they are owed from their past Venezuela operations. And the Venezuela representatives floated the opportunity to take control of additional fields to compensate for the debt. So what does that mean? So US oil companies were actually operating in Venezuela. Chevron still does. Chevron has some sort of deal with Venezuela, and apparently they're happy with it. It's working out for them. But other oil companies were also operating out of Venezuela previously. This is like in the early 2000s when Hugo Chavez suddenly decided to force them to give majority stakes of their projects to the, Petróleos de Venezuela, to the state, essentially. He wanted to nationalize.
To the people.
Mm-hmm.
To the people.
To the people.
To
Give
the people.
money to the people.
And the oil companies didn't like it. So the United States,
they stepped in.
Froze $11 billion of their assets.
Yep.
And now the oil company says they owe them.
Now the oil company says, y'all owe us money. Wait, the money that's frozen in the U.S. banks that you can get that I can't get?
Unbelievable.
Make it make sense.
And also, it reminds me of France. After slavery was over, France said, you owe us for freeing our illegally enslaved people. They didn't owe France nothing. But France enslaved them, and I believe still to this day, they are still receiving money out of Haiti.
Yeah, France made them pay reparations for those freed slaves with the help of the United States, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Hey, officers, but it's making sense because I just looked it up, right? You got countries like Russia, Iran, and China that switching to alternatives from SWIFT. I looked this up. I say, does U.S. freeze other countries through the SWIFT banking system? It says yes. The governments use sanctions often in conjunction with or by targeting the SWIFT access. So that's why you got all these different countries starting to switch over to these different rules and all these other access because U.S. got a chokehold on the game.
That's why BRICS is so heavy that and the United States actually fears BRICS, and this is signs of desperation what they're doing in Venezuela, the efforts that they want toward Greenland, what they're talking about doing in Iran, in Nigeria, because they bombed Nigeria too, by the way. These are acts of desperation because BRICS is loosening that stronghold that they have. Remember that petrodollar is crashing. They don't trade with the petrodollar anymore.
Hey, can I get a script?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hey, let's get 2nd Ezra chapter 15, and let's start at verse 14. We're going to read down to 16.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
Because these prophecies they definitely going to come true. We got to realize that the prophets in the old days, they saw the times of today, right? Come on.
For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another.
Their destruction draweth near. This whole BRICS thing that we're talking about, okay, it's destroying the economy of the United States. And it's drawing near, come on.
And swords in their hands. For there shall be seditions.
Seditions, come on.
Among men, and invading one another.
And doing what?
And invading one another.
Invading one another, come on, and do what?
They shall not regard their kings.
They should not regard their what?
Their kings.
Did they regard the president of Venezuela, who was rightfully sworn in? They didn't regard him. Come on.
Nor princes. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
And the course of their actions is they have stolen the oil that Venezuela is actually supposed. They had deals with China and Russia. But they said, no, we're going to take the oil and, we're going to sell it. And we're going to sell it at market price,
All right, let's get back to the video.
Yes, sir.
That's absolutely true. I mean, the whole thing is prophetically on point, what we see today. But most people are not looking at the Bible for their wisdom. And that's what we here for, is to show that light from the Bible. Go ahead.
Hey, let's get back to the video real quick.
So Venezuela ended up seizing the assets of companies that resisted, and that's the debt that these oil companies are referring to. Now, again, Chevron has been the sole major oil company to continue working in Venezuela, operating under a special license to produce oil in the country and then export it to the United States. But Romero said that Wright's the energy secretary, encouraged the companies, quote, to get an understanding and solve their outstanding problems along the way, end quote, but made clear, this is an important part of the story, made clear the Trump administration would like to see more Venezuelan crude flowing to U.S. refineries. I thought that was an interesting part of the story because Trump very recently—
Hey, where are we at on the video? What's the time? All right.
Supposed to stop it.
Trashed the oil in Venezuela. It's like, it's nasty oil. We don't want that oil. It's like, is it though? Finally, Romero says, we need those barrels. That's an important message from the government. So,
yeah. So a couple thoughts on this. So first off, the oil companies oftentimes get outrageous deals with these countries. Why? Because they threaten to have America invade them if they don't. So that has a long history. In the 1950s, we deposed the leader of Iran because he wanted the Iranian people to have a larger share of the oil profits. And so the oil companies forced Britain and America to get rid of them, and that's what eventually led to the Ayatollah.
Sound familiar? Sound familiar, don't it? Remove the president that's in place and put who you want.
Well,
The United States just repeats over and over. Go ahead.
In Libya or Nigeria?
And what about Venezuela?
Everywhere.
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 Go ahead.
It's possible that Hugo Chavez was saying, yeah, but it's our oil and we're paying you way too much, and the Venezuelan people should keep more of it. Now, if they had a previous deal and they should honor that deal, okay, fine, right? But in terms of a country deciding what to do with its own natural resources, that's not theft. No, you taking their natural resources at the point of a gun at lower prices is theft. So I got no love for Hugo Chavez, but that is very far from theft when you actually control your own natural resources. In terms of the oil companies, they've got two different conflicting things here. One is sometimes oil prices are so low that it's not worth drilling anywhere, let alone riskier places, right? And risk could be for a number of different reasons, including what type of oil it is, and that makes it more expensive to drill in those places, right? But when you start a war with an oil-rich country, usually because of that instability, oil prices go up. So I'm still surprised that they wouldn't want it. But apparently, if this story is to be believed, and I can see why they wouldn't, right? For the reasons that I just gave you, there are many circumstances in which it might not be profitable for them. Right. Well, then we've got to pick a new reason why we're.
So, because it's not profitable for them, they got to pick a new reason to go in to Venezuela and overthrow it. Let's see what that new reason is. Play on.
Genuinely do think that for someone like Marco Rubio, a Cuban American, it's deeply ideological. And Cubans are not organized the way Zionists are. So, but honestly, the Cuban refugees who came here in the late 50s are just as zealous as the Zionists are about their own political project. So I do think it's ideological for Marco Rubio. And for Trump, obviously, he personally is motivated by the oil. But, I don't begrudge the oil executives for actually being smart and remembering, hey, Venezuela burned us before. Are we really going to take that risk again? So we'll see how this plays out. But I am curious if these meetings and these discussions maybe motivated Trump to avoid talking about going to war with Venezuela during his address to the nation.
Yeah, Anna, from my point of view, look, normally this would be mainly about the oil. Now this is the second big clue we've had that it might not be in this case. We shared a previous story before about it as well. So that, and it's usually a confluence of factors that leads to a dramatically wrong decision like this. And defense contractors always get rich from war, of course. Israel apparently has an interest in this because they claim Venezuela and Hezbollah and Hamas are working on drones together, so they want them destroyed and smashed to pieces. Is that a large factor? Probably, just because of the overwhelming power they have. But my best guess is this is driven by Rubio. And you're right, Anna. If there's any second group in the country that's as zealous as the pro-Israel folks, it's the Cubans.
Yeah.
So, stop it right there real quick. So Marco Rubio is of Cuban descent. Whether he's an Israelite or Esau, we're not for sure. But he's moving like he's Esau. And those Edomites that claim to be Cubans have an issue with Venezuela because Venezuela has always supported Fidel Castro. And as we know, Fidel Castro was for his people, and they called him a communist. Yeah, he was a communist, but he was for his people. Just like Hugo Chavez was for his people, just like Maduro is for his people. And that's the issue that they have with Venezuela. That's the issue that they have with Cuba. That's Marco Rubio's issue. And Donald Trump sees dollar signs and greed. So the oil is his issue. And there's also a caveat in there about Israel and Israel wanting Venezuela destroyed because they got ties with Iran. what the real issue is with Israel and Venezuela, or let me be more specific, with Netanyahu and Nicolas Maduro. Deacon Aitan brought it out on his class that Nicolas Maduro said, I'm a real Jew. I'm a descendant of Sephardic Moorish Jews that came to Venezuela, not a fake Jew like Bibi Netanyahu. So when you start to claim that you are the true Jew, that's when Israel gets involved, and that's what this is about.
And there's an undercurrent, just what you said, that goes in all of those so-called countries in South America, is that there is a bloodline that's from the so-called Spaniards that dominate in those countries, and they've lost power over the years. I remember when Hugo Chavez was president, he offered a book to then President Obama, and it was reminding him of the bloodlines that came over there, not only from Africa, but just as the officer just brought out, from the Jews that were dispersed out of Spain and Portugal. And so it's even in Mexico, the ruling class is still the Spaniards. And even a lot of the people that's indigenous to Mexico and South America and all of that, they don't really realize who they being ruled by. But remember that was mentioned when Hugo Chavez was in power. Those people wanted to gain back power over him.
I know you know this, officer, because you're big on the history. Where Spain and Portugal is, it's called the Iberian Peninsula. That word Iberian comes from Iber, which is Hebrew.
That's right.
So that's the Hebrew Peninsula, where these people came from. That Nicolas Maduro said he's a descendant of the 12 tribes.
So they know that those lands were invaded as well, and the original people were dispersed, especially during the time of the Inquisition and so forth. They were dispersed out to the west coast of Africa. We bring it up on almost every show to point out to the fact that we live under an illusion that that everybody came, all the dark-skinned people came out of Africa, which is crazy.
There's slave ledgers with some of the oldest slaves having Hispanic names because they came here first from Spain.
That's right.
They were brought over first.
And that's part of the illusion that we live in America. You know, we take our history from 1492. The world began in 1492. Let's get to the next video. Are we at 6? How much time we got?
5 and 6 are articles.
Okay. Then that way we can recalibrate. Yeah. Where was that?
5 and 6 are articles. If y'all want to go into those articles, we can.
I have trouble pulling it up.
U.S. senators introduce bill to stop Trump seizing Greenland.
Unbelievable.
Senators in the United States have introduced a bill aimed at preventing President Donald Trump from seizing NATO territory, including the self-governing Danish islands of Greenland.
I like the word salad that they use.
Yes.
Season. No, stealing. Say what it is.
So it said, hey, go back to the article real quick. It says that the United States has introduced bills aimed at preventing Donald Trump from seizing NATO territory, including the self-governing Danish island of Greenland. But yet Donald Trump says he don't care what they say. Greenland is going to be a part of the United States. Greenland, the Danish can't protect Greenland. He said he talked to the Danish and they just added another dog sled on the border, and that's not enough. So he doesn't care what the United States is talking about. He doesn't care what NATO is talking about. He's going to do what he wants to do.
This is
Donald Trump has went bankrupt, at least 13 times, and just keeps getting more money.
I-
That's
I-
how he's operating the government. He don't care.
I remember when he was running for president, and I kept hearing people talk about at work talk about the politics of it all. And one of the things they said, he's a millionaire. You know, that was a thing that he was a self-made millionaire. Well, they weren't self-made. He or Elon Musk, they both got their money in a wicked way. But
you know what's funny about that? Okay, let's say he was self-made, right? But when he went bankrupt in the 1980s because of the Trump Plaza Casino, you know who bailed him out? The Rothschilds. And up until the point when the Rothschilds bailed him out, Donald Trump was a Democrat. Now, after the Rothschilds bailed him out, now he's a Republican. Can we say puppet?
Puppet?
Puppet.
Puppet? You
Go
know his
ahead.
name is not
Puppet.
really Trump, is it? You know that, huh?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's of German descent.
Ah.
I believe it was F at the end, Trumpf. And it was
Trumpf.
changed. I did a little research on that so that it sounds more Americanized. And that's why you see he and Elon Musk, when he takes his presidency, that he's given the
Hail Hitler.
the Hail Hitler salute. So it's just a lot to it, yeah.
Makes sense.
So basically, that whole German hierarchy thing has come all the way from over there and has risen up through the ranks over here. As they say, the South has risen again. So has
So is Germany, apparently.
So is Germany, apparently. Yes, sir.
Hey, let's go back.
The Bipartisan NATO Unity Protection Act introduced on Tuesday would bar the Department of Defense and Department of State from using funds to blockade, occupy, annex, or otherwise assert control over the territory of any other NATO member state.
Hey, can I speak on that?
Go ahead.
So, with NATO, they have what they call the Article 5, okay? And Article 5 with NATO, with all the, the NATO countries, they have to honor this. So, with Trump actually trying to take control of this NATO territory, he will be in violation of this NATO article right here. Can we read that?
NATO 5. NATO's Article 5 is the cornerstone of its collective defense, stating that an armed attack against one member in Europe or North America is considered an attack against all.
So you think about Trump is going to be attacking all of NATO. Now, of course, we know that Trump and the Senate and everybody was saying, okay, we're going to withdraw from NATO. But this actually goes into that Revelations, what's that, 17? They're going to hate the
17 and
whore.
16. 17, 16.
They're
Go
gonna
ahead.
hate the whore.
Y'all go ahead and read it.
Yes,
17 and
sir.
16.
Yes, sir. Let's get that.
The book of Revelations, chapter 17 and verse 16.
Come on.
And the 10 horns,
The 10 horns, the 10 common markets. NATO, come on.
which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore.
They're going to do what?
Hate the whore.
How are they going to hate the whore? Because you know what? The whore is going to attack them. It's going to go against them. The whore is going to start doing her own thing. As we, you know what I'm saying, we're reading right, we know that Trump is actually trying to take over Greenland. And if he does that, that's going to upset.
And the policies that the United States and this particular regime have been following, even back in Joe Biden's term, when they blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, which is devastating Europe, and they're needing that oil from Venezuela because of that as well, and some of the that natural gas that this country is now producing, which is now being sold to Europe, which is making them dependent upon the U.S. even more so. And so all of these things that we making moves over here to do, Europe did not start a tariff war
No.
with China and these other countries. And that has been the U.S. policy, which hurts especially Germany, Britain. Those countries' economy is being devastated by the current tactics that's being used to try to have control upon the face of this earth. So they're not liking it. They don't like it at all. And this is just another how you say, straw on the camel's back.
Might be the straw that broke his back.
I can cry about it.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to number 6.
Denmark over joining U.S. says Greenland PM Nelson.
Prime Minister.
We choose Denmark over joining U.S. says Greenland Prime Minister Nelson.
You know what's crazy about this? I was watching some videos on this about Denmark saying that they choose, Greenland choose Denmark over the U.S. And they mentioned the prime minister's name to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump said, I don't know him. Who is he?
Wow.
You gonna take over? You don't even know who he is? Come on, man.
That shows you he don't care. He's the bully on the block. He don't care. That's Debo.
It reminds me of Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Pharaoh told Moses, I don't know your God. Who is he? I'm the God on this block. And that's basically the way Trump is rolling. Like he the God of the earth. I think the Most High in his mighty warrior got something to say about that.
Right. Let it play out. Hey, let's go back real quick.
Greenland Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen has said the self-governed Danish territory wants to remain part of Denmark rather than join the United States amid U.S. President Donald Trump's ongoing push to take over the island. Speaking at a news conference in Copenhagen alongside Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, Nielsen said the anonymous Arctic territory would prefer to remain Danish.
Hey, is that a video of it? Was that a video of it at the bottom? Okay. But yeah, so pretty much Greenland says we want to stay Danish. We don't want to be a part of the United States. As Donald Trump, like the officer brought out, said, who is this Prime Minister Nelson? I don't know him. Who is he? What say so does he have?
I mean, sometimes you got to wonder about Donald Trump because he's in a meeting, high executive meeting, one of the leaders from Africa, and he asked him, where did you learn English? You speak it so well. And the dude like, that's the language we speak over there, dude. Wait, where you at? Don't you know? That's what we're dealing with, the arrogancy of what we see going on in the country at this time. And I mean, it is spread like wildfire into many aspects in our society that we live in today. You know, right up to what we see going on in Minnesota. I don't know if we're going to touch on that tonight, but it's a certain spirit in the air that the people have been feeding off of in this country, and it's not a good thing.
Well, you know, when you got a president that said grab him by the hoo-ha, who's allegedly involved in the Epstein files, and that's why those files haven't come out, by the way.
So you want to talk about the Ford factory?
Hey, his own daughter Ivanka, that he was, their relationship just seemed odd.
Something wrong.
So this is who we're talking about. Of course, he doesn't care about laws and rules and diplomacy. He doesn't really even care about democracy, because he tried to pardon everybody from January 6th. Remember that?
He did. They all got jobs.
Yeah.
They're all working as ICE now.
Oh, Oh.
That's what I'm hearing.
Oh.
I mean, that's why they got masks on. And why? I thought the thieves and the burglars wore masks,
Right.
So, like I said, there's a spirit that's going on the planet Earth in the United States. And that spirit is one of arrogancy, selfishness, and it's very troubling, Where we at?
I think it's time for the commercial.
Y'all taking us to a commercial break? All right, we're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Most High in Christ bless. Why do you subscribe? IUIC New Orleans, subscribe. Go to our YouTube page. Help us to grow. Comment, like, share. What's going on? Make it happen.
Hey, Shalom, Mosan Presidential Captain Abiel here. Officer Ira. We're here at the Central American Festival, the party after the parade. All praise to the Most High. A lot of Zebulon is here, from Guatemala all the way down to Panama. All praise to the Most High. We get a lot of contacts, a lot of connections, a lot of activity.
My sister Denia, what did you learn today?
Well, one of the things that was in my head was like, why is Haiti and Santo Domingo share the same island? Why they are from different tribes? And it was explained to me, and I see the point now.
All praise to the Most High. We went into the scriptures. We showed the sister what the relation between the so-called Haitians and the so-called Dominicans, and why not only are they on the same island, but why they're so not united. What tribe are you from, sis?
Zebulon.
My sister, all praises. She's from the tribe of Zebulon. I'm glad you were able to stop by the table. Let's go you read your flyer, sis, all right?
I will.
What you're about to hear right now is different from what you might be used to. You've probably heard the term Hebrew Israelite, and you ask yourself, what does that mean? A lot of us see videos online of some black men marching and talking in the streets. Today we have a special guest. His name is Captain Shem, and he's one of the leaders of the Israel United in Christ. It does. Are you able to quickly just show me the verse where Paul has described this?
Yes, thank you. Since you insist, I shall. Get Acts 21. Get Acts 21, verse 37.
Acts chapter 21 and verse 37.
Okay.
And who was to be led into the castle?
So let's paint the picture. Who was being led into the castle? Paul. Now watch what the chief captain says in response to Paul. Read.
Who said, canst thou speak Greek?
He said, can you? Can you speak Greek? Read on.
Art not thou that Egyptian?
Now here's my question for you and your audience, which is very, very clear if we know history at all. What did the Egyptians look like?
Shalom. We back. We're going to go back to the thumbnail again. Go ahead.
The crude divides the crude. Oil and the evil empire. So as y'all see, we've been talking about this evil empire, and then they greed for the oil. And you see, that don't quite look like Donald Trump AI. It tries its best, but you see the greed. Look at the oil just dripping from his hands. You got Marco Rubio down in the corner giving the thumbs up because they kidnapped Nicolas Maduro. And you have these fake supporters of the United States government, which is less than 1% in Venezuela, that says adios dictator. Maduro is far from being a dictator. He's not keeping the commandments, so of course he's not doing everything right, but he was far from a dictator being for his people.
So, you know, they always saying these dudes are cruel to their people. And now my mind goes back to that shooting that took place in Minnesota. And certainly, we as God's people, we follow the scriptures. And the scripture definitely tells us, let's get that scripture about when you're in the way of somebody who can kill you. You know what I'm talking about?
Agree with that adversaries quickly.
Agree with that adversary. See.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 25. Agree with thine adversary quickly, while thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison.
So what we see happening today is there's, again, that certain spirit which is emanating from the leadership in this country about being rough with the people. We bring in the military, which should basically be for fighting other nations. That's what we were always led to believe. ICE is a personal arm of Trump, and a lot of people are comparing them to the Gestapo.
Yep.
And we see that when that lady was shot by that particular officer, that he was primed to do so. He was drawing his gun. You watch the video prior to the car moving his way. He was getting his gun out already. And then the administration came up and they're backing ICE as if this guy did the right thing. When if you're going to flee in a car, that's not a reason to shoot somebody. But we had a different level now. We had, what do they call that when you go to different levels in nuclear war? Level 5?
Code red at this point.
Code red, is that what it is?
But they're saying ICE operates with diplomatic immunity, which means they're above the law.
So as Israel, we already know that they lay in wait of our steps, right? Have been since we've been here for over 400 years. And so we got to be mindful about our compliance as far as, having our driver's license and, don't be talking about what our civil rights is and all of that. That lady cannot explain what her civil rights is now because she was shot 3 times in the face.
Right.
So, as long as it don't disagree with the laws and commandments of God, and even if it does, we're not fighting them.
Real quick, if you get pulled over, like the scripture said, agree with thy adversary quickly.
Mm-hmm.
If they tell you to get out of the car and they try to put you on the ground, don't resist them and try to flex your muscle and say that you felt that the cop was weak because they tried to little boy you and you end up getting punched in the face. Because a whole lot worse could happen.
A whole lot worse. How can you justify having to go to court, getting all beat up and all of that when you could have just paid a ticket or something of that nature?
Yep.
Just comply and go about your business. We ain't in the business of trying to change this government. We're trying to change the hearts and the minds of the Most High God's people. Video number
7.
Number 7.
Welcome back to the channel. President Trump says America's biggest oil companies should invest in Venezuela around $100 billion to rebuild its shattered energy sector and to bring its vast oil reserves back online. In Trump's framing, when you listen to what he has to say, he sees this as a strategic win-win. He's talking about U.S. energy dominance, about cheaper oil flows, and a geopolitical reset in America's so-called backyard. But the reaction from the oil executives that sat across from Trump was anything but enthusiastic. It was really interesting to watch just how skeptical top oil executives are. Instead of applause, Trump got caution and many reminders of risk and reality. And nowhere was that clearer than when ExxonMobil CEO Darren Woods bluntly described Venezuela as, quote, uninvestable in its current form. Exxon's assets have been seized there twice already, and Woods made it very clear that re-entering a country that has already nationalized their operations twice before would require fundamental, durable legal changes. So, unless...
Hold it right there. So the problem is, and you could clearly see the problem, if they nationalized it twice, what they're saying is, we get no benefit out of you taking our oil, making you rich, and our people poor. That's what they constantly saying.
That is exactly what Venezuela is saying, and that's exactly why Big Oil doesn't want to go back into Venezuela unless there is a regime change, which Donald Trump has hinted at. He's hinted at.
And you know what they have to do in order to get the oil in the situation that would be a permanent situation? That would mean base number 851. They'd have to put a military base in there to control the resources, as they've done all around the world. And, you know, is it worth it? You know, to them it probably is, but to the people of Venezuela, it's oppression.
And that's the other thing that the big oil company is worried about, is pouring that money into rebuilding the infrastructure. That the only reason the infrastructure collapsed in the first place is because of the sanctions that was put on them by the United States. Because you, Big Oil, wanted them to put sanctions on Venezuela because they nationalized their oil in the first place. So now you destroyed their infrastructure and you don't want to go rebuild it because you know you're not going to profit from it.
Unless
there's a regime change.
Unlimited. And we can hook up a spigot straight to they tankers and stuff like that. It's sad. It is sad to see one people try to dominate another people and don't really care about. I mean, just look at it. Look at the countries in South America: Mexico, Venezuela, Brazil. All of these nations, they in an economical decline because we brought them our prosperity.
Hey, let's get right into number 8. Let's get into number 8. All right, because Pepe Escobar, this guy that's being interviewed by Judge Knapp in this video, Pepe is gonna need some security, man, because he's bringing out a lot, and he come out the gate firing. When we get to that first timestamp, he comes out the gate.
You're saying that, but they've already started to make their move on the people who are voicing their opinion.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Of you. Can the United States successfully colonize Venezuela?
No, they can't. They will have to kill 28 million Venezuelans to do that, Judge.
Stop right there. That shows you that the United States doesn't have support, and that's like Donald Trump says, fake news when they're showing all these people that are glad that Maduro got ousted. He said you would have to kill 28 million Venezuelans in order for the United States to colonize Venezuela. Play on.
It's a bit of an uphill struggle, isn't it?
Well, I would.
Trump didn't clear with the Venezuelan population what he did a few days ago. And now we have, except for the 1% in Caracas, and except for the 1 or 2% who live in Miami, the official capital of the Venezuelan diaspora and the Cuban diaspora, everybody is united in terms of defending Venezuelan sovereignty, which is the overall theme for the whole of Latin America now. Trump bought a war against the whole population of Latin America except the 1%.
And that 1% are those who came from Spain and Portugal as the Spanish and the Portuguese.
Oh, you talking about the descendants of Cristobal Colon?
Yes, sir.
The descendants of Hernan Cortez, the descendants of Ponce de Leon.
That's them. That's them. And they still is somewhat in rulership, and these people have come through same thing we went through here. They've gone through hundreds and hundreds of years of oppression, slavery, free labor, all of that, and now they're trying to stand up on their feet, and this 1% want control of those countries.
Yep. You got some also?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would like to get, can we get Habakkuk chapter 1 and start at verse 6? Because basically, this video, this brother started off saying, because the question was asked, is the U.S., able to do what they're doing? He said, no, it's illegal, right? So let's see what the scriptures say.
The book of Habakkuk, chapter 1 and verse 6. For lo, I raise up the Chaldeans.
The Chaldeans, right? It's talking about, this is prophetic for America right now. Come on.
That bitter and hasty nation.
That who?
That bitter and hasty nation.
A hasty nation. They didn't waste no time overthrowing this land. Let's see. Let's go further. Come on.
Which shall march through and breed of the, which shall march through and breed of the land.
And breathe on the land. It's going to take the land. Come on.
To pose it, the dwelling place that are not theirs.
That is what?
That are not theirs.
That are not theirs. Come on.
They are terrible and dreadful. Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves.
They are terrible and dreadful. Read on.
Their horses also are swifter than.
Their military vehicles that they're using is swifter. Come on.
Swifter than the leopards.
Read.
And are more fierce than even wolves.
Because it's been said that the type of weapons that they use on these vehicles, I actually just saw a article that's saying that they may have used a civilian vehicle which could possibly raise a war crime against America. And they're calling for an investigation. Keep reading.
And their horsemen shall spread themselves. And their horsemen shall come from far. They shall fly as the eagle.
They shall fly as the eagle. America is the eagle. That's that eagle.
Officer.
All praises.
They they use more than civilian vehicles over there.
Yeah. They use a lot more than
what
civilian
was that video
vehicles.
where they invaded Panama?
The Panama Deception.
In the Panama Deception, in that video, they were telling you already that these people would use laser beams. Mm-hmm. They use microwave. That's what they used down in Venezuela recently. People said that their nose was bleeding. We might have that article coming up.
I think we do have it coming up. Hey, let's get back to the video real quick. Let's try to get through this.
Just as the Israelis learned that their attack on Iran united the Iranians behind anybody's wildest dreams, Trump's invasion of Venezuela, killing 100 people, half of them in their sleep, in order to kidnap the president, has united a country like it hasn't been united before.
Absolutely, Judge. And not only the country, but let's put it this way, the South American and the Latin American street. If you go to a favela in Rio, if you go to the suburbs of Buenos Aires, if you go to Los Altos in Bolivia, if you go to the Peruvian coast in Cusco, everybody's going to tell you the same.
Stop. He said if you go to the favela in Rio, if you go in the Alps and all these different places, in the streets, you know who dwells there? The 12 tribes. The tribe of Asher, the tribe of Zebulun. That's who's there. That's who's in those hoods and those barrios. That's the streets he's talking about. That's that 98, 99% that do not support what Donald Trump did. And they're starting to unite. So you know what that means? It means we got to get boots on the ground in South America.
You know something too, officer, which comes to mind right now, is he was mentioning how the whole South America is coalescing, they're coming together because of the atrocities that's being done, the way they're being handled. But you know what you don't hear? You don't hear Christianity in this country saying a word.
Nothing. Why?
Not a word. They quiet as a mum.
Because Christianity is the right hand of this government.
Oh my goodness.
So that means they're in agreement with it.
These God-fearing.
They talked about the so-called atrocities that happened in Israel, though.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they ain't talking about the Palestinians.
No.
Anytime something happened to the Israelis, and it just seems to kind of correlate that it's sort of like Trump banning immigration.
Mm-hmm.
He only banning certain people.
Wait a minute.
He only banning the same thing. Christianity only counts. It's just kind of mind-boggling. It only counts when we dealing with certain people. God loves everybody and all of that stuff when we're dealing with certain people. But when we're dealing with the other people, like the people in Venezuela, God don't love them. We could do anything we want to them.
So it sounds like Christianity is Zionism. Hey, let's go back to the video.
Oh my goodness.
Is our southern hemisphere, and we're not gonna let any gringos to come here and take over our land.
Gringo means white man, by the way. Gringo means white man. Yes, he said it on this platform that the South American street said we're not letting no white men come in and take us over. Keep playing.
Headline.
Who in the international community seriously believes Trump that this is about drugs when Trump's own director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who probably should resign after what they did to humiliate her, not telling her about this and involving her, whatever, after she has said under oath Venezuela is not a distributor of drugs, and Trump's own Drug Enforcement Administration, 5 agents of which accompanied the thugs on their attack the other night for window dressing, has said that cocaine and fentanyl do not come from Venezuela. Who believes internationally what Trump is saying?
I would say the Euro Chihuahuas, Judge. They're trying to find ways not to antagonize Donald Trump. Everybody in South America and Latin America knows, first of all, the drugs, the top channels of, let's say, the drug connectivity corridor to the United States come from Colombia and Mexico. In Mexico, there are a lot of middlemen, and that includes a lot of Peruvians. Some of the cocaine comes from Brazil by air. Nothing has to do with Venezuela. And I would say the clincher is the Department of Justice admitting on the record that the Cartel de los Soles never existed.
Cartel de los Soles never existed, but they arrested Maduro saying he was the head of this cartel. They put a $50 million bounty on his head saying he was the head of the cartel that doesn't exist.
But they said that's not going to matter when they get him in court. They're going to throw that issue out.
Right.
And now they're going to charge him for other international crimes and stuff. Like I said, those fishing boats. They was fishing boats.
Yeah.
And all the killing of the people and stuff, those seem like war crimes to me.
They are. Hey, let's go to timestamp number 2.
Trump actually expel Iranian and Cuban operatives from Venezuela?
Only if he promised, and then he backtracked, I think from yesterday to today, a second strike against Venezuela, against Delcy, if Delcy doesn't do what she's being told. Well, Trump, Rubio, Viceroy of Venezuela, Gusano Rubio, they underestimate Delcy. Delcy is a real Chavista revolutionary. Her father was a revolutionary killed by the CIA. Delcy Rodriguez, the current...
This sister, yes, she's a sister. This sister that he's speaking of is Maduro's vice president. Her father was a revolutionary and supported Chavez. She supports Chavez just like Maduro supports Chavez. and they're trying to get her out of office to put in their puppeteer, but the streets of Venezuela ain't supporting that, and they won't support it. Go ahead, officer. Got some?
Oh yeah, I want to jump to 10 before we run out of time. How much time we got left? Okay, let's go to 10. I want to show y'all something real quick. This is somebody who we use on the show all the time, and he's an nuclear analyst that went into Iraq and all of that, checking their
Weapons of mass destruction
that didn't exist. But what I'm going to show you is the tactics that are going to be used, because we generally are told that the First Amendment allows us freedom of speech. And we've always said that's not true. And that's why we are oppressed. That's why you don't see us in the news and stuff like that, because we're being oppressed. You see it?
Scott Ritter says he was debanked.
He was what?
Debanked.
Well. Go ahead, read a little bit more.
Scott Ritter, a former U.S. Marine Corps intelligence officer, RT contributor. Scott Ritter, a former U.S. Marine Corps intelligence officer, RT contributor, and critic of American foreign policies.
What? He's a what?
And critic of American foreign policies. Has said he has been debanked, and that U.S. federal authorities are likely behind his bank's decision.
So let's jump down to 10B, which is going to tell us what the definition of debank is.
Debanked. Debanked means a financial institution abruptly closes a customer's account.
They did what to Kanye West?
Closes a customer's account.
See, you think you got some money in the bank. You don't have no money in the bank. They only allow you to have money in the bank. But if they want to cut your funds off, keep reading.
Often due to perceived risk, illegal activity, or increasingly controversial reasons like political views.
His what?
Political views.
Go ahead.
Religious affiliations.
Uh-oh.
Our association with disfavored industries, significantly impacting individuals and businesses by cutting off access to essential financial services.
So this is always have going on. You know, if they feel like you supporting, say a foreign entity, trying to help a foreign entity, they would cut your money off. Like you were supporting the Nazis, Germany, they would cut your money off. Well, the banks control all your finances, your 401k, what other ones you got? You got your regular checking account, IRAs, all of this stuff. It's only on paper. It's not like gold or something you can put in your pocket. It's all on paper. They call it fiat. And they could cut that off anytime they want. And so the importance of this is, and as we brought up earlier, the times are changing. And the tactics are changing. So if they did it to this well-known, I don't call him Edomite, call him, he used to be an ex-Trump man. You know, he went in to Iran them to inspect for weapons of mass destruction, which he didn't find any. And since he's been watching how things have gone here in the West, the United States and the West, he's kind of lost his zeal for it. So he's kind of pointing out the things that he knows that are not right.
He's become a whistleblower is what they call it.
Oh, they call him a whistleblower.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he's doing. He's blowing the whistle on the corruptness of the United States government. They call him anti-patriotic. They call him a traitor to his government and his people.
And that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
They're going to rebrand him in a negative light so that they can do things to him. And so they will do others as well, as we see. And just like the people, I had another definition down there that they call terrorists, right? That's a word that's used quite a bit frequently these days. Who's a terrorist? You know, it just depends on the point of view. Some people say a terrorist is a freedom fighter. But the people that were in Minnesota and around the country are being called terrorists because they don't like the policies and the policing that's being done in their neighborhood, right? So they feel like they're being assaulted, whereas the other people saying you're a terrorist and we have the right to assault you.
It's all perspective. And just so y'all know, it's not a conspiracy theory that we're talking about with Scott Ritter, right? Yes, he's been debanked. He also, a few months ago, his house got raided. So this man is being targeted for the things that he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? If they do it to their own, don't think it's impossible for them to touch you. That's what ICE is about. That's why ICE is operating with diplomatic immunity. Because that means they're above the laws that you are subject to, which means they can do whatever they want to you.
Hey, officer, and I want to remind you too, old black man, you say that's happening to them over there, but you next. You up next. I seen them. They had a black guy at where you charge your Teslas at one of them charging stations. And he walked up to his car. I'm gonna learn to say it in German eventually, but they said, "Show me your ID." And the black guy, you know, I'm not from South America. Why do you need my ID? Do we got to snatch you out of that car? So it's just not for the people from South America. They're coming from you.
And by the way, them over there that look kind of light skinned, they got grandmothers and grandfathers darker than me.
That's right.
Because they are us.
That's right.
Those are our brothers.
That's right.
The scripture said we'll be oppressed together, and that's what y'all are seeing.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That was our show for tonight. It's kind of abbreviated show. But we hope y'all got something from that show. There was one more scripture. Isaiah 11. What did I put? 11. And I lost it. 11:6, I think it was. Let me see. It's where Jesus stood up in the temple and he quoted it. 11. 1 and 2. Let me see.
11 and 1.
11 and 1. Let me see. Come on.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 11, and verse 2. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him.
Yep.
And the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, and the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord.
No, that wasn't the part I was looking for. I'm looking for when he said that he stood up and he said today and 1 and 2. 63, 1 and 2. That's it. Forgive me.
Isaiah chapter 63 and verse 1. 61 and verse 1, excuse me. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord had anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek.
Mm-hmm.
He had sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
In their mind.
To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. And the day of vengeance of our God. To comfort all that mourn. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion. To give unto them beauty for ashes, and oil for joy, for mourning. The garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness.
Okay, so the point of the scripture was that what we're doing is to bring the knowledge and understanding to our people, to bring that light of understanding to them, so that we can be freed up from this situation we in here in America, where we don't have any knowledge, understanding, or of the Lord himself. And so that's the whole point. This isn't just to point out current activities, but this is to free our people up. And I think that's it.
Hey, all praise to the Most High.
Booster Club.
All right.
Hey, yeah. Make sure y'all donate to the Booster Club. Why? So we can get to these countries that we are speaking of to bring these good tidings, to show them who they are and whose they are. So make sure y'all donating to the Booster Club.
All praises for that. All
Yes,
praises
sir.
for that. So with that, we say Most High in Christ bless. Shalom.
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 You're never gonna see this on any mainstream news.
This ain't what you want, this is what you need. And don't forget, yeah, they made us slaves, hung our kids from trees. I never forget, nooses on our neck, whipped us till we bleed. And they gotta get it. Hey man, calling Galatians 3:13.
You're now tuned in to Preceptuponprecept.
Crew so strange, look at how low they hang. Oh man, took out the chains, so when the wind blow, we just swing. Much oppression, break your dreams, that is bitter. Ready, set, pull